Hi, I'm Jackie Corbell, and I'm the Health Sciences Advisor at the College of Southern Maryland, and I'd like to welcome you to our pre-orientation meeting for Nursing 1115 and 1115L. First thing we're going to talk about is registration. It's very important throughout the entire process that you not only keep your acceptance letter, but you read all the information contained in the acceptance letter. The acceptance letter contains very important due dates and times of submissions. If you run the chance of not starting in the program if you do not follow the instructions in the acceptance letter. The first thing you're going to notice is registration. Again, read the acceptance letter for the date and time of the registration that you will be assigned. Students will have to have completed and uploaded to Castle Branch all their information in order to have their majors changed. Your major must be changed to nursing in order to register. Students that register prior to the assigned deadline date and time will be dropped from the courses and required to meet with our department chair to receive permission to register. So please make sure again that you follow the date and time carefully. If you have questions regarding registration, please contact me. My contact information is located in the acceptance letter as well as on the slide. For progression, there's a couple important things that you need to know. All nursing courses and general education courses must be completed with a C or higher. Some students may not have Bio 2080 and 2080L, which is Anatomy and Physiology Part 2, Lecture and Lab, completed. This must be done and passed with grades of C or higher before advancing to the second semester of the program, which is Nursing 1215 and 1215L. If you have questions regarding your completion of the requirements and prerequisites, please feel free to contact me. Again, my contact information is located in your acceptance letter and on the slide as well.
Hi, I'm Eden Khan. I am the nursing coordinator for 1115, Theory and L. Theory for Nursing 1115 is basically the classes, the lecture that meets Monday and Wednesday. When we talk about L, that's the lab and the clinical. Right, and we're going to discuss that. It's identified in the acceptance letter, and it's also referenced. We'll reference that definitely more so when we do the orientation. So this is the information for Castle Branch. I'm going to be talking about Castle Branch a lot, and this is pretty much the focus for this session with you. Please understand their hours and that it is primarily your responsibility to complete all health requirements and all the requirements that's in this Castle Branch site. So I'm going to discuss certain highlights. The drug test, anything dilute must be repeated. Background check also is critical. These are drug tests and background are yearly requirements. So please know they are yearly requirements and you need to be on top of them. You will not get reminders from faculty. We are not working with Castle Branch. We are not an entity within Castle Branch and this is primarily your responsibility. For background checks, you need to understand that if there is anything that's been dinged or anything in your background, we do not have that information. That's considered private. But if that gets forwarded to an agency like a hospital or nursing center and they do not accept something in your background, then you will not have placement in that clinical site. So it's critical that you understand your background check. Clinical health requirements, we're going to talk about more so. And right there on the bottom, it says something about green checks. If you see a green check, it doesn't mean that you've met the requirement. Your faculty that you will see in 1115 and that you will meet at the orientation before each semester will also be going into that and looking at that carefully. There could be some errors and we will email you accordingly. So moving forward to the clinical health requirements. You need to start earlier than later. I'm hoping that most of you have already gotten in and bought the package. You all would have received the acceptance letter at this point. You need to be alert and aware that you can't get all vaccines in one day. So therefore, don't think that this is going to be possible, and therefore don't think that you can do this last minute. We need to do this as early as possible. Now, if you're medically not able to get the vaccine, this is all highlighted in red. You need a doctor's note and a notification letter to the course coordinator, and that would be me. You will need to upload this doctor's note, and that would be fine. And then when we meet with each other, and that will be at your orientation day, and that again, that date is identified in the acceptance letter, you will need to submit that letter to me at that time. The MMR is one of the vaccines that's required. This is listed in your Castle Branch. And if you look in Castle Branch, I can't show you the website for Castle Branch because it will list and open up private information and student information. But all of you have that access. All you need to do, there is on the list, you need to basically click and open, and it will list this criteria. So everything that I'm showing you isn't foreign. Everything should be clearly identified within your Castle Branch site, within your access to your site. So for MMR, you need either 2 vaccinations. Maybe you are not current on that, so you're going to definitely need that. How do you know if you're not current? You're going to have to do a lab work, and that's considered a titer, so it's a lab draw. You can get that from your physician. Hopefully everybody is already aware of getting a physical exam. Your doctor, your healthcare provider will check the lab report. The lab report needs to be uploaded to show that you have immunity. Immunity will show that you will not need the vaccine. If you don't have immunity, you will need vaccinations. That's what that means about positive titers. That will show evidence of immunity to the MMR. Chickenpox, again, kind of the same thing. These are all, again, criteria evident within your Castle Branch site. You need the vaccinations. If you're showing no positive titers or maybe a lessened amount of immunity, you're going to need to have that evidence as per lab report or some vaccination evidence. You get vaccinations at your doctor's office. You can get vaccinations also for chickenpox at the local pharmacist. Walgreens has sites, and I know there's various areas. So please check with your physician if you do need those vaccinations. Now, the hepatitis B, this is very clear. It's embedded in the Castle Branch site. You can get the vaccinations. However, it's a series. That means you will not get them all prior to the start of the semester. Sometimes it takes about 3 months in between. Sometimes it takes 2 months. It's going to be a series. If you do not want the vaccines, you can get the titer. Maybe some of you have been already vaccinated and you have evidence of immunity. And then the last piece, if you don't want any of that and you don't even want to get a lab report, there is a waiver form. The form is in your Castle Branch. You can basically sign it, upload it, and you will be fine. Now, tuberculosis, this is evidence that's really needed. All of these health requirements are requested by our agencies, our hospitals, our nursing centers, our community areas, and so these are requirements by these facilities. You have to make sure that when you're uploading this TB evidence, you have to use the CSM form. Some of you are working already in facilities like hospitals, and I know your employee health will sign their own form, and then you're going to try to upload your employee health form, and that's going to be rejected. So please, in advance of that, already walk in with your employee health, wherever facility you're getting this, them to complete in terms of taking the skin test, and make sure you have the CSM form. The requirement is right here. You can have a 2-step TB skin test. You can have 2 consecutive annual tests. That's pretty much if you're working already as a tech or a CNA. You get blood work, either a T-spot or quantiferin whole blood test, or if you have a history, maybe exposure to the PPD. Basically, you need an X-ray, your health history, and then, of course, the requirement for entering into the program is the annual physical exam. So these are all the criteria that you must follow to get approved for your requirement of a TB. Make sure that the form is signed completely. We're giving you all this information in advance so that you don't leave the physician, your healthcare provider's office without having the form completed. The Tdap, this is a requirement. You can have a booster, which is the vaccination. Hopefully you had it within the past 10 years. If it's more than 10 years, you're going to have to get the vaccine. Also, if you've been living outside of the country, we would like you to get a Tdap booster vaccine within the 5-year span. CPR, this is well identified in the acceptance letter. These are the only 2 providers. There's multiple providers out there. Students have mistakes because they go to the wrong provider. These are the only 2 that CSM does accept. And then you need to make sure that you're getting the adequate, correct type, whether you're not getting a community CPR, you're getting the one that's more for adult and with an AED course, and that is, again, identified clearly in your acceptance letter. Mistakes that students have made, they submit things and things aren't signed. So if you're submitting a card, please make sure it is signed. And in all documentation that's uploaded in Castle Branch, the criteria is to have your first and last name. So whether it be a vaccine, whether it be a form regarding the TB, your first and last name must appear on all forms that are uploaded. Health insurance, you provide a copy of a current, not an older one, but a current health insurance card or proof of coverage. Now the proof of coverage can be just a letter. It doesn't have to be a card. If you are a student and you're being covered under your parent or a parent's health insurance, all you need to do is notify your health insurance company. They can submit a letter saying that you are having coverage under so-and-so person. That is also acceptable. We do not accept beneficiary forms. Sometimes you all send in forms that are not complete, or they're not accurate for insurance, or they don't match coverage and the student's name's not clearly identified on there. It will be denied. This will delay your registration. It will delay the entire process. This is the flu vaccine. This is the flu vaccine for each fall. Usually flu vaccines are released by the CDC for the annual fall time. It's usually released after September 1st, so please know you really need to get it from the fall, the previous fall. If you're a spring semester student, it would be the previous fall. If you were a fall semester student, you need to get the current one. So please, if you have any confusion, it's the current vaccine that you need for that fall season. All this information is clearly identified again. The due date for most agencies, it says renewal date is November 1st. Our agencies are very critical. They will not let you enter, and therefore your clinical placement will be at risk if you do not have this. The information that they want when you're uploading the form, not only do you need a CSM form, you need a lot number, a dose, a name of the vaccine, the name, address, and phone number of the provider. If you got it at Walgreens, you got it at your doctor's office, that all needs to be on there, and the signature of the provider. So it's been denied. Some students have tried to get it through, but sometimes they write a big R. If any of this information is incomplete, we can't help you. We can't add anything for you. Again, as faculty, it is your responsibility to get this accurately done. And then the reasons that it gets rejected, students have these are the past mistakes. Students don't upload the CSM forms. So you have to upload the information and also upload the accurate information that Castle Branch has requested. Physical exam is yearly, has to be completed on a school form. Physical exam, make sure they have signed it. Students have tried to submit it, and then in the front page, it has to be signed. The front page also has to be stamped by the office. Each page also has to be completed. We've gotten forms. Students have been asking us, and I don't know why they email us, and they say, can you tell me why it's been rejected? And it's very obvious that page 2 was not completed, or major parts of it. So you have to make sure you put your first and last name. Don't waste your time. Make sure before you leave, when you get in your car and you're about to leave after your physical exam, double check that the form is totally complete. It just saves you your time, because then you have delays if you try to get back to that doctor's office and make an appointment. So, the other things right here is that usually in the bottom piece of your Castle Branch requirement, they call it signature forms. You cannot do these until you go through your first day of orientation. This is well identified in your acceptance letter. You need a handbook acknowledgement. This is our student handbook. You do not get that in advance. You do not get that with your acceptance letter. You get that pretty much with our orientation day. So therefore we say that it's allowable that you don't have to complete this in Castle Branch until your first day of class. The other things that can be delayed until the first class day are all the things here below. This will not, if you don't have this complete, this will not hold you from being registered. You will be in jeopardy, though, staying in the nursing program once all these items are still not uploaded. Sometimes there may be something pending. That actually has happened. If somebody has an item pending and we let you register, we actually have to make sure that's cleared. It can't be rejected. And then also during your time in the nursing program, if you're trying to upload something like an annual physical, or as you progress in the next semester, if there's a drug test, everything has to be completed, or you'll have problems progressing or registering in the next course. There's no exceptions to this. This is, again, stressing to you that is your responsibility. Each student's responsibility to keep the information current and to update this. Don't let your CPR expire. As an RN, I also know in the hospitals, when my CPR had expired, my staff development folks would be calling me and telling me I can't come to work. It was my responsibility to make sure that didn't expire. It's my responsibility to make sure I get another course in. So no one really sends you reminders. Castle Branch may or may not, but it is yours only to make sure that this is current, and this kind of helps you when you become an RN, because you have requirements also to upload things for your hospitals, for your agencies that you're going to be employed with. If there's any name change, sometimes people change their names for marriage or other reasons, please keep us current if that happens. Your name has to be consistent with what you have identified for CSM in registration, so we can't see two different names. It has to be your consistent name for what you have enrolled with CSM and what you're identifying in Castle Branch. Other things that you will see for Castle Branch, it's going to be probably, I think it's item 1, it says join commission. This is an online exam, so you cannot do this until you get into My Learning. You can't get into My Learning for the course until 7 days before the start of the semester. So 7 days, the My Learning course, 1115, the theory, 1115L, the lab and clinical, will be open up, and that's when you can start it. We will again speak about this on your annual course orientation day, and that again is referenced in the acceptance letter. Now, if there is any pregnancies or health condition, this is part of our policy in the student handbook. You need to basically notify the course coordinator, send us a letter explaining the reason, of course. This is tied into vaccination, but also I need to be alert and I need to be aware of all this information regarding pregnancies or any health conditions. This is just information on the uniform. People are curious at this point. We do not expect you prior to the first day of orientation with us. We will give you more information, but we don't really expect you to have this all purchased by your orientation day. We will provide you with more information, but the students are curious, and we want to provide this, that it's definitely a green top, green bottom with black closed-toe shoes. Supplies, basically up there, it's in red. It's not necessary right now. You do not have to buy stethoscopes. You will meet the faculty team. I'm only one member, but the rest of our faculty team will be present on orientation day. They will talk about this. We will provide you a written syllabus. It's the syllabi for both the courses, and then you will also get information on your textbooks. So this is something that you don't really need to prioritize at this point. Your priority is actually checking off to make sure your Castle Branch requirements are met, but we want to give you this in case you are curious. This is the information. It's also in the CSM website for any disability support that you may need. And then this is a part of our student handbook policy that we will again explain to you at our orientation day and our course orientation especially, which starts in the morning. Students cannot be assigned to a clinical where they have a meeting a family member or are employed. And then basically the rest of it is here. Please let us know there's been conflict of interest and role confusion. If this happens, you can definitely speak to us at the course orientation if this is something that may apply to you. Nursing and nurses work in pretty much long shifts when we have a lot of responsibilities. We also have a lot of requirements working with different substances. We have to comply to our agency's policies and procedures. We have to be able to be adept. We don't work in a vacuum. We work with other people. We work with collaboration with multiple teams, like nutrition, respiratory therapy, or registered respiratory therapies are very close with us in terms of collaboration, and of course our physicians. So these are essential functions we do. And as part of your physical exam form, we also have to be competent to perform safe patient care. As identified in the physical exam form, to be safe also means we have to be psychologically, behaviorally, and physically competent. And what that means is that we have to be able to work long shifts. Our shifts as an RN can be 8 to 12 hours. We have to have strength for tasks, visual, auditory abilities, and also fine motor movements. This is all identified. This is what your physicians, healthcare providers identify when they're completing your physical exam form. Clinical orientation is identified in your acceptance letter, the date, the time, and the location. This has also been identified that you have to dress professionally casual. We want you to look presentable. You will be meeting the Health Sciences Division Chair, the Program Coordinator for the nursing program, and you will be meeting the rest of the Health Sciences faculty, nursing faculty, and also the rest of the students in the nursing program. We encourage you to bring a notebook and a pen. We also want you to know that this attendance is definitely required. It's mandatory. If you do not attend, it will be already considered a clinical absence. We do have an attendance policy, and we do definitely frown on absences. Don't be late for this. We do this mandatory orientation. It's a course orientation, and then we also do in the afternoon session a big nursing orientation. However, we understand that there may be some weather influences and challenges sometimes in the spring semester, yes, in the winter. There could be a 2-hour delay, so we will definitely start when CSM opens. If there is a closure, we will contact you via email, and that email you need to recognize is going to be on Outlook. So I want you to also be aware that CSM has gone to Outlook. We have a CSM email policy, and that is in our website. So we do expect students to be on top of their Outlook accounts, and that is how you are going to get correspondence should there be issues with school closure. Tips for success. This is what nursing and the faculty and I also stress, that you all are professional in your attire, in your behavior, and definitely in your attention to details. We expect you read all directions carefully and review them several times. Do not throw away your acceptance letter. Jackie has provided you her email account, but she's not going to resubmit that to everybody, and you're accountable to that letter, knowing your responsibilities, knowing the package you need to purchase, and knowing the date for orientation. So that is going to be your guide for now until you get the syllabi for the course, until you meet the faculty for the annual course orientations. For Castle Branch, with any issues, the responsibility, I think I've said it over and over now, is pretty much yours. Please review all details. You may be asked to withdraw if any item expires. Here's the attendance policy. The reason I put this up is every once in a while, especially at this pre-orientation session, students inquire about taking a week-long vacation for honeymoons, vacation for a cruise, a family outing, whatever. We have an attendance policy. Your courses for the first semester especially may run Monday to Friday. Monday and Wednesdays are strictly our theory classes. However, clinical can be Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. Therefore, if you want to take a vacation that lasts a week, you will be in violation of the attendance policy, and then you will be at risk for failing the course. And that is definitely what's going to happen, but the option is yours. Family outing or family vacation may be your priority, but we highly discourage that because, again, you're going to be in violation of our policy. There's zero tolerance, again, for these long-term absences. You have to meet the objectives, and how you meet the objectives is making sure you get the clinical hours. Now, there is this bio-assessment. It's an online test, like the Joint Commission. It's going to be due on the first Friday of classes, and this is an online, so you have to enter it once you get into My Learning. You can't get into it right now, so therefore this is going to be discussed at the course orientation. This is the last slide, and this is the message from the NSA advisor, Professor Robin Young. She just has a message for all of you. She is going to be in attendance. She will have a booth along with her NSA students. This is the Nursing Student Association. It's our CSM Student Life Club. It's an opportunity for students to volunteer and offer service to members of those in the community. And she just has a little message here, so if you don't mind, if you're interested and you also would like to enter a raffle, bring some monies on your course orientation date. That's all we have. If you have any questions, again, Jackie has provided her email account, and thank you.